Ladies and gentlemen, this heavyweight bare knuckle bout is scheduled for three 3-minute rounds and is brought to you live on the Stadium app. Our referee in charge when the bell rings, Mr. Clive Allison. Let's meet the fighters. First, fighting out of the red corner. Blue corner. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall. He weighed in at 249.8 pounds. He holds a bare knuckle record of 1 win versus 2 defeats, and he fights out of Newquay by way of Scunthorpe, England. Introducing Jody, one-man riot, Meikle. And his opponent fighting out of the red corner. He stands 5 feet 6 inches tall. He weighed in at 254.1 pounds. He holds a bare knuckle record of 2 wins, 3 losses, and he fights out of Slough, England. Introducing Stanlee, Big Country Wilson.
5'6" Stanlee Wilson, 6'2" Jody Meikle. Here we go. Black and pink trunks for Stanlee Wilson. The green with the red trim for Jody, one-man riot Meikle. He said, if you want to know about my nickname, ask the Humberside Police Department.
Yeah. You know, Paulie, we can literally continue our conversation about the one fighter having to push forward through the long jab with this one.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Big country. You can use all that gut to push forward.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, a lot of respect between these two. Something tells me that they'll be kicking down a few brewskis tonight after this fight's over.
They will. It's important that people realize that Wilson has knocked out bigger men than Jody before. He has. Everybody he fights is much bigger than him, so he doesn't, it's not a disadvantage, it's just a fact of life. This is his body type, this is how he has to fight.
And oftentimes, Robin, he makes a point that a lot of heavyweights aren't used to punching down. Yeah. So it's actually the opponent who has to make the adjustment. And Wilson, his first fight in exactly 1,500 days, he said at first in training, he said, I gotta be honest, I was so sore. I just wanted to get to feeling better. But he's been in the lobby, he's been in the locker room. Stanlee Wilson is taking this all in this week. Round 1, this one scheduled for 3, BKB against BKB. And the world famous BYB Mighty Trigon.
And you can tell that these guys come from BKB. There hasn't been one clinch, has been strictly boxing in this round thus far. As now, Wilson, it's almost like he heard me, tries to make the clinch.
Tries to sort of throw the fastball over top, and when it doesn't land, he just continues the forward movement.
And in coming back, Stanlee said, I've always come back and fought because I enjoy it. I'm a true believer in never say never, and it's never say never now. As he covers up, shakes his head, and gets back to the center of the trigon, which is not easy.
We were having an interesting conversation about people trying to paw things before, Paulie, and you see Stanlee doing that. He's kind of got the open hand, trying to draw something.
Yeah, and he's also trying to measure Wilson for distance, make sure, you know, give him something to basically a barrier to not be able to come across, and Wilson's gonna have to do stuff like that, like try to throw over the top of it so that he can cut that distance a little bit and try to land something. But a technical fight to me gives Meikle the advantage. He's taller, he's very, very busy with the left hand. There's a slight right hand there lands from Wilson. But this kind of pace and this kind of fight is an advantage to Meikle.
Yeah, Meikle is throwing light. You know what I mean? Like he's throwing gently, which is really smart in this case. You just keep moving. Don't sit down too hard on anything. Yep. Just move and strike and move and strike, and that'll work for him.
Yeah, preserve the hands.
Yep.
Meikle, a veteran of 71 professional boxing bouts.
Bare Knuckle Boxing is proud to announce the Tampa, Florida Flyweight Giveaway Contest. Come join us in person for an all-expense-paid trip to Tampa, Florida for our next BYB Extreme fight on November 19th. Brought to you by Pick Cherries. Share podcasts like never before. Visit pickedcherries.com/BYB Extreme to download the free Pick Cherries mobile app. to enter to win. No purchase necessary. Brought to you by Picked Cherries. Share podcasts like never before.
The corner of Stanlee Wilson, British heavyweight K1 champion. His opponent, Jody Meikle, on short notice back in January, as Tom mentioned, defeated Dorian Datch to become the BKB World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, Jody fights a little different when you've had 60, 70 boxing matches, and you were the guy that could be counted on and get called on Monday and show up on Wednesday. You know, you develop kind of an odd, unique style. Your rhythm is different. We talked about that earlier. You're kind of weird, right? And in fighting, weird is hard.
Yeah. Well, you become like sort of a journeyman. You learn to adapt to different things, different style, because you never really get to study your opponents, just taking them on at the last minute. So you almost create your own unadaptive style to all these guys you're fighting. Good effort there by Wilson as he works his way inside, forcing a clinch by Meikle.
I was working with a kickboxer in Amsterdam, and we were talking about that odd rhythm. And he was describing it as like you listen to a song, and instead of dancing with it, you try to dance against it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what that's what he's like.
It's a good analogy. That's the thing about it with awkward fighters. Nice jab there by Meikle, still continuing to keep that distance.
And again, you see those, every punch doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 in energy exertion. So you can flip short shots out. It's part of the game. It's a seasoning that you see.
That is also 100% true in glove boxing. And Paulie talks about it all the time. We call fights constantly together, and you change the speed up. You know, if you're always throwing the 100-mile-an-hour fastball, sooner or later, it's going to get jacked out of the park. If you mix things up, Paulie, that's what makes it work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to be the hardest puncher, but if you have a variation enough, you'll be confusing enough. You see Meikle doing a little some showboating here and there as well. He got a little bit of showmanship. He's kicking the ropes at times, posing. See, again, he's letting Wilson off the ropes there.
I think he might have shook his hand out. Let's see how much he used. No, left hand still throwing.
Jody Meikle, 71 professional boxing bouts, finished just 3 times.
Yeah, that's crazy. That sort of adventure, that journey of the journeyman is a fascinating one. It really is. These are fascinating individuals.
And Jody's brother, Trevor, also a former professional gloved boxer, as they phrase it over here in the UK.
Yeah, I mean, this is boxing. If you go back far enough, we don't call it bare knuckle boxing, it's just called boxing.
It's the oldest form of combat sports. That's why Scott Furr and the Boxing Hall of Fame is here.
Good hook there by Meikle.
And again,
changing the trajectory of the left hand, turning it from a jab to a hook. Very educated left hand by Meikle. Started there, that a combination with an uppercut. Trying to really dictate things with that lead hand.
You mentioned that showboating, that sort of expression. That's an example of also being relaxed. Like you can see he's relaxed now. He's into, almost through the second of 3 rounds. He's relaxed, he's light on his feet, he's flicking things out. He's having a great fight. It's really on Stanlee now to try to get to him.
Yeah. Stanley's gonna have to take some chances here if he's gonna win this fight. He's not changing gears, and you see Meikle again doing a little bit of maneuvering and showboating as he gets away from Wilson.
The corner of Jody Meikle, some of his handiwork from that last round. Now, here's a good storyline. He talks about his nickname, One Man Riot, in the Humberside Police Department. He was on his way. He was going to be sentenced. He was going to do some time, and he picked up boxing to channel his aggression. And the judge was such a believer in that could put him on a better path that he actually gave him a suspended sentence. So he avoided behind bars by staying in between the ropes.
And I believe sort of an unofficial part of his parole was, I need to see you keep boxing.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful thing. That's a very educated judge. Combat makes humans, men and women, it makes humans better. We learn about life, we learn about ourselves, we overcome things, and it's made him a better man, a better father, a better friend, a better citizen, neighbor.
And he's like to put on a little bit of show too, but Stanlee Wilson trying to push in. And and show that this 5'6" heavyweight is a man to be dealt with.
You see Meikle doing a little bit of a tango on the inside of the clinch. And Country's laughing, but again, if Country's gonna try to win this fight, Country Wilson, he's gonna have to get inside and get that work done, not walk into clinches like that.
He chose, that right hand is just having such a hard time getting over the shoulder to the head. That time he chose to throw it to the body. That's actually a really good, little adjustment. Just having fun here, these two. And they like each other, these two. They really do. And it sounds crazy to people who don't fight, but sometimes there's no better way to sort of respect somebody than punch them. Get in there and push each other.
So you get to know things about another person that you wouldn't otherwise know.
And about yourself. He's getting in. He's doing what he has to do, but he's having a tough time. It's the seasoning and the experience, too, as much as anything. Also, Jody, for a guy who's never set foot in the trigon, is moving really nicely around the outside.
He's making it look more spacious than it actually is.
Yeah, they're heavyweights. Yeah, it's as good as we've seen a BKB fighter move in the trigon, especially for heavyweight.
And pulling back straight with squared up, Wilson's got to be careful because puts himself out of position to be able to counter, to not be able to counter, and also it can be dangerous.
Yeah, you talk about those corners. So a corner is typically 90 degrees. This is 60. That's a big difference, especially for a wide human being with a wide pelvic girdle, shoulder, rib cage, everything. Once you get caught in there, there's nowhere to go. And Stanlee back there again. He's backing right up into it.
Yeah, and he can't get past that jab. And when he does, he ends up in a clinch. He's not able to get a lot of work done.
But that is that, 70-fight journeyman boxer skill, too, is the ability to tie somebody up when they get too close and tie them up. That's part of what gets you never stopped in all of those, or rarely stopped in all of those high-level fights.
I'll tell you what, the good news for Big Country Wilson is if this continues this way, he's still the best 5'6" heavyweight in the world. Because Meikle is 6'2".
BYB debut for both of these Brits. And some homage being paid to lost lads, as it says on the shorts of Jody, Meikle as well. Prouty and Garrett. You see the RIP on his shorts, so our prayers go to both families in the losses that they have experienced.
And there's Stanlee at the right down to the end, still trying to push, still staying courageous. But there's 10 seconds. He's got to land the right knuckles or he'll lose this fight.
And Paulie, you and I, when Robin said that, we're both going, wait, what? Oh yeah, 3 rounds in this one. Yeah. As we've got the 3-minute round, but some of these BKB fights, as UFC, have been scheduled for 3. Now our main events are 7 rounds. 2 in the women's fight, 3-minute rounds in the main event.
Absolutely, and a very professional performance by Jody Meikle. Just controlled the tempo, controlled the pace. Not the most exciting fight, but a very intelligently fought fight, very technical fight. And Big Country Wilson just couldn't get to him at all.
Meikle looked good considering I saw him have 9 pints yesterday.
Yeah. All things considered, this is how they do in bare knuckle. It's foreign to me. I come from a different combat sport, but yeah, these guys, it's not out of the ordinary to see guys like this having a few pints.
Yeah. It's
even the night before the fight.
Yeah, it's a wild, wild culture. It's one of the beautiful things about coming over here for BKB is the British culture of bare knuckle, the history. It's also a gentleman's sport.
Oh, yeah.
That's why these guys, the BKB guys, are all so respectful. It is a sport for gentlemen.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you something else, Robin. That ain't just BKB. I've seen guys in America do the same thing at BYB the night before the fight, having kicking down a couple of brewskis or a couple of drinks.
Whatever
Jody did
works
say
for
it's
you.
an amazing opportunity. He was gutted when he didn't get a chance to fight in the States during his professional boxing days. He loves the opportunity to fight the Trigon in front of American TV. Has he earned the victory? Let's find out from Big Bo.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of 3 full rounds, we go to the judges' scorecard for the official decision. All 3 judges seat about 30 to 27, declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Jody, one-man riot, Meikle.
Jody Meikle enjoying this victory with family. The granddad with his 2 stepsons both men paying homage to lost friends, and a good show those two heavyweights were just able to put on. Now, Claudia, you've been with Tom all night, and Tom tells it like it is. He did tell me I did a good job at the weigh-ins yesterday. So, Claudia, I think he actually was serious.